Welcome to the world of Deluxe. Living a luxury lifestyle doesn't always have to be about taking. In this episode of Deluxe, we meet a range of people who take great pleasure in giving something back. There is a definite purpose behind the generosity of these people who have been blessed by life's good fortunes. They feel compelled to give something back to the world that has given so much to them, and they're determined to make their help count. Movie stars are often accused of wanting to increase their celebrity status by adopting fashionable political causes. But Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt have certainly put their money where their mouths are with their philanthropic efforts. More well known at first for her scandalous off-screen behaviour, Angelina Jolie has shown a true dedication to the suffering of others as she has matured through her various humanitarian roles. Despite a hectic filmmaking schedule and an ever-increasing family, Angelina still finds time to promote various causes that are close to her heart. Angelina was first motivated towards her humanitarian work during the filming of Tomb Raider in Cambodia, when she became aware of the endemic poverty in the country, which is still heavily mined years after local conflicts finished. Inspired by her experiences in Cambodia, Angelina began to work with the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, eventually becoming a goodwill ambassador for the organisation. This involved her travelling to various refugee camps around the world in the hope that the celebrity spotlight focused on her would shine some of the world's attention on the plight of refugees. During her trips as a goodwill ambassador, Angelina has paid all of her own expenses and insisted on sharing the same conditions as local UNHCR representatives. She definitely hasn't been taking a pampered tour through the slums of the world. Over the years, Angelina has travelled extensively under her role. She has visited refugee camps in dozens of countries, including Afghanistan, Colombia, Kosovo, Kenya, Sudan, Iraq, and Sierra Leone. With her increasing experiences of these situations, Angelina has started to become more active in promoting humanitarian causes at a political level. In 2005 and 2006, she was invited to address the World Economic Forum in Davos. She has also been active in lobbying for humanitarian causes in the American Congress, with more than 20 visits since 2003. In 2005, Angelina launched the National Centre for Refugee and Immigrant Children, a group dedicated to providing legal support for refugee children. Angelina donated $500,000 to help fund the group. And in 2006, along with husband Brad Pitt, Angelina launched the Jolie Pitt Foundation, which has given donations to a variety of other humanitarian groups active in supporting refugees around the world. Since then, both Brad and Angelina have donated over $4 million each through their foundation. The biggest amounts went to Doctors Without Borders and Global AIDS Alliance, each of which received $1 million. Other grants went to Namibia Red Cross Action Program, Global Green USA, and to Human Rights Watch. Angelina also co-chairs the organisation Education Partnership for Children of Conflict, which provides schooling programs for children in war zones. Angelina's passions have obviously rubbed off onto Brad, who volunteered to help build houses for the poor in Western India. Brad Pitt joined former US President Jimmy Carter to help volunteers from a Christian charity build the homes. Former US President Jimmy Carter has been keenly involved with the group since 1984.
President and Mrs. Carter have been such a gift to Habitat because they help draw attention. One of the goals for the Jimmy Carter Work Project isn't just to build 100 houses, but to focus the attention of the world on the need for decent, affordable housing.
Brad, who was in India with Angelina while she was filming the movie A Mighty Heart, dropped by the town of Lonavala, 106 kilometres southeast of Mumbai, to lend a hand to thousands of volunteers from the non-profit organisation Habitat for Humanity. The idea behind the project is not charity, but partnerships with local communities. The families working together with volunteers build a home for which they pay a very affordable mortgage that is then invested into building more homes for other poor families. During this phase of building, the organisation built 100 simple, affordable homes in Lonavala. Long thought of as only a flashy footballer, David Beckham has been involved in a number of charity causes over the years. Starting with his passion for football, in 2005 Bex established 2 football training academies in London and Los Angeles to help youngsters learn the game, encourage healthy living schemes and develop a positive attitude to sport. He also signed on for a tour of duty as a celebrity goodwill ambassador for UNICEF. In 2005, he made an advertisement to support UNICEF's work in helping children in areas devastated by the Boxing Day tsunami in Southeast Asia.
Well, I first became involved with UNICEF about 5 or 6 years ago. I went to one shelter where there was boys, girls and mostly mothers there, where the children had been either on the streets, prostitution, and you know, it was an eye-opener for me.
While filming the advertisement, Bex was moved by watching UNICEF workers preparing a variety of educational and medical goods that would help children in the tsunami-devastated Bay of Bengal area.
With this disaster, I think children have been affected more than anyone, and there's so many children without families, without mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, and that's the sad thing to see.
Coming up, a billionaire joins with a rock star to fix the world. Bill Gates is one of the best known and possibly the most important philanthropists in the world. Having made his fortune through his software company Microsoft, Bill Gates retired from his role of CEO and has instead focused his life and his monumental wealth on helping the billions of people who are living in poverty around the world. Inspired by the work of famous 19th century American philanthropists Andrew Carnegie and John D. Rockefeller, Bill Gates started his first charity foundation, the William H. Gates Foundation, in 1994, later combining it with 2 other family foundations to form the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation in 2000. Since he began his philanthropic work, his foundation has been focused on finding cures for many of the most common yet threatening diseases tormenting the lives of the world's impoverished, and trying to reduce extreme poverty throughout the world. While in America, his foundation aims to expand academic opportunities for school children and provide better access to information technology. Through their foundation, one of the key issues that Bill and his wife Melinda have devoted much of their spare time to is the fight against AIDS. Bill Gates hasn't been alone on his quest to fight AIDS. Bono, one of the world's most famous rock stars, has joined him. Part rock legend, part humanitarian bulldozer, Bono has worked tirelessly throughout his long and famed pop career to give a great deal back to the world.
It's not acceptable to let a child die.
Bono has focused on big picture politics in his efforts to improve the lives of the world's less fortunate. He's become a powerful voice for the powerless in the world. In 2005, the pair appeared alongside former British Prime Minister Tony Blair at a gathering of world leaders in an attempt to bring the plight of Africa to the world's attention. The 3 men shared the platform at the World Economic Forum in the Swiss ski resort of Davos, where 2,500 political and business leaders had gathered to address key issues facing the world economy. Bill Gates, who had already pledged $800 million from his personal fortune towards making vital vaccines available in the Third World, spoke about the failure of the world's leaders to pay attention to Africa's problem, which he described as scandalous.
The fact that we don't apply the resources to the known cures or to coming up with even better cures is really, I think, the most scandalous issue of our time.
At the same event, Bono called on the United States to honour its aid commitments.
I think that President Bush should be very proud of what he started with the Millennium Challenge, and I think it would be a fantastic model for others to follow. I think the US should stand by those two initiatives and go further.
Bono's continual campaigning on a range of political issues has a constant thread running through it. His desire to see the impoverished people of the world given a chance to create a better life for themselves through a more equitable distribution of the world's wealth and resources. This quest has seen Bono crisscrossing the world, seeming to appear on the stage at every major world gathering to hector those in power to consider their responsibilities towards the powerless. Bono has often felt compelled to remark on the ease with which the world's rich could help the poor.
It's insane that 8,000 people are dying every day of a preventable, treatable disease, AIDS. For lack of drugs you can get here easily.
Although he's well known for his political activism, it's in the business world that Bono is creating some of the most innovative approaches to charity work through the development of fusion philanthropy. This work doesn't attract the same amount of media attention, but has a more direct and tangible effect on the lives of millions of AIDS sufferers in the Third World. Through his business interests, such as his clothing label Eden and his private equity firm Elevation Partners, Bono has established an economically viable charity model which involves a variety of businesses with the goal of generating profits which are then invested in humanitarian causes. All of the profits generated by products sold under the Red banner go towards buying drugs to help AIDS victims in the Third World.
You know, what's great about Red is I'm not asking you to give money or write a check for charity. I'm asking you to buy Red products, and the companies who make those products will be writing a check to charity. That's so cool.
Through his relentless work, Bono has come to be derided by his critics because of his constant nagging. But without his involvement, many important issues facing the developing world would be easily forgotten by the West. If Bono's work has only been a drop in the ocean of worldwide suffering, at least he's kept the world's media and politicians focused on vital Third World issues: poverty, debt, AIDS. He's challenged people to come up with answers and take action, even if they don't agree with him. Bill Gates' work alongside Bono hasn't gone unnoticed, and the pair, together with Bill's wife Melinda, were nominated as Time magazine's People of the Year in 2005, in recognition of their continued and sustained work to help those less fortunate.
What these people are about is how can they use their money and leverage it to save as many people as possible.
The trio have achieved more than recognition. Their activism helped encourage popular pressure that led to the world's industrialised nations agreeing in 2005 to double their aid commitments to poor countries by 2010, adding $50 billion a year, and to cancel poor countries' debt. Coming up, celebrities who are keen to help the cradle of civilization, Africa. Well known for her roles in mega hits such as Charlie's Angels, Kill Bill and Lucky No. 11, American actress Lucy Liu has also signed on as a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador in 2005. As a Goodwill Ambassador, she has travelled to Pakistan, Lesotho, and in 2007 she travelled to the Democratic Republic of Congo, which has been torn apart by years of civil war. In her role as a UNICEF ambassador, Lucy travelled to the eastern province of North Kivu, where she visited the camps of Goma and Bunia. Here she witnessed the dire situation of displaced women and children. A largely forgotten conflict, the civil war in the DRC is the deadliest war that the world has seen since World War II. Between 1998 and 2003, an estimated 3.8 million people died as a consequence of the war. The death toll far exceeds other recent crises, including Bosnia, Rwanda, and Darfur. During her trip, Lucy met children formerly associated with armed groups, survivors of sexual violence, and communities of displaced people who have abandoned their homes to avoid the ongoing violence in the region. Lucy was deeply moved by the courage shown by the Congolese, and she implored the world's community to support UNICEF and its partners as they try to bring change to the troubled region. Known for his outrageous stunts and Midas touch with his business ventures, billionaire businessman Richard Branson is another successful entrepreneur keen to share his good fortune with the world. Branson's philanthropy has always been of a more pragmatic nature, reflecting his interests in environmental concerns. In 2005, Branson launched the UK's first biodiesel train in an effort to make rail travel more environmentally friendly and encourage the development of more bio-friendly fuels. Through his railway company, Virgin Trains, Branson modified a diesel train to run on an eco-friendly fuel mix and aims to reduce CO2 emissions from the train. If the trial is successful, Virgin Trains is aiming to convert its entire fleet of trains in the future.
It's a big step towards trains becoming completely green. We've got 20% biodiesel on this train. We think we can get up to 100%, which basically will mean that it'll be the equivalent of taking 100,000 cars off the road.
During the 6-month trial, the train ran from Birmingham to Scotland, the north of England, the southwest and the south coast.
All the profits that we make from our trains and our planes are going into research into trying to find alternative green energy, alternative clean fuels.
The trial forms part of Virgin Group's vision to use clean fuel technology to reduce carbon dioxide emissions. Overall, the Virgin Group has already contributed $200 million of its pledged $3 billion to developing sustainable energy. As part of this effort, Virgin Fuels has already constructed 3 ethanol plants, which are greener and cheaper to run than standard corn-to-ethanol plants. Another project that Branson is involved with is a school in South Africa that bears his name. The Branson School of Entrepreneurship at the Cedar City campus in Johannesburg. The school aims to actively promote the growth and education of budding entrepreneurs from financially disadvantaged backgrounds. Cedar City campus is South Africa's first virtually free tertiary institution and the perfect partner for the new school, which will be situated in the Johannesburg city centre. To mark the occasion, Richard Branson and leading South African entrepreneurs literally left their footprints in stone when they placed their feet in concrete to represent walking in the footsteps of global entrepreneurs.
I think that Africa's a wonderful place, and it's been through so much misery, and a lot of it so unnecessary and so much affliction.
Richard has continued to pursue his philanthropy through his business ventures, and in 2007 he announced the Virgin Earth Challenge, a $25 million competition to develop commercially viable technology or procedures that will work to reduce the buildup of greenhouse gases from the Earth's atmosphere. Branson feels that major scientific advances have come through business-oriented competitions such as this, and this would be his ultimate gift to the world. Richard Branson isn't the only entrepreneur to open a school in South Africa. One of the world's richest women, Oprah Winfrey, has also opened a school. But this hasn't been her only act of philanthropy. Famed for her role as the host of the long-running daytime talk show named after her, Oprah started her philanthropic work in 1998, when she began Oprah's Angel Network, dedicated to encouraging greater participation in charity work around the world. The organisation is actively involved with a variety of charity works that share Oprah's vision of encouraging people to make a difference in the lives of underprivileged others. Oprah takes her charity work very seriously and is known for her generosity on her talk show. But she also donates a large amount of her personal fortune to a variety of charities, and in 2005 was listed by the American magazine Business Week as having given away over $303 million, easily putting her onto their list of top 50 most generous philanthropists. But Oprah's biggest act of generosity would have to be the opening of this school in South Africa, the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls, located near Johannesburg. Oprah was inspired to open the school after going on a trip to South Africa in 2004 to distribute more charity amongst the slums of Johannesburg. During this trip, Oprah realised that one of the best ways to break the cycle of crushing poverty in the area was to increase the educational opportunities for young women in these impoverished communities. She wanted to open a school that would help young women become leaders, and so she invested $40 million of her own money to establish the academy.
And the reason why I wanted to build a school for girls is because I know that when you educate a girl, you begin to change the face of a nation, because girls become women and they educate their girls and their boys and their children.
The sleekly designed campus, sprawling over 52 acres in a sleepy community south of Johannesburg, encompasses classrooms, laboratories equipped with flat-screen computers, and a well-stocked library. Oprah said she hoped a better education could shield South African girls from contracting HIV, a disease that strikes an estimated 5.5 million of South Africa's 45 million people.
Girls who are educated are less likely to get diseases like HIV and AIDS. And because AIDS is a pandemic in this country, I believe that we have to begin to change the pandemic by education.
Former South African President Nelson Mandela, on hand for the opening celebration, praised Winfrey, but called on South Africa to learn from her.
She obviously recognized the potential in our youth. South Africans should not only be grateful to you, but should take a lesson from you about what personal commitment means.
It doesn't matter how these people found their fame or fortune. What matters is what they're doing with it. Whether you're helping build a village in India, raising awareness around global poverty, or starting a new business venture to fund charity, we can all give something back to the world that's given us so much. What all of these people show is that it really is better to give than receive.